Hello, welcome back to the channel. My name's Luke. Thanks for joining me on my journey to grow mentally, spiritually, financially, and physically, as well as keeping track and documenting my progress in these videos so that I can see where I came from and also so that I can give the most relatable and practical advice. So without further ado, let's get into today's video. Alright, so the premise of today's video is just something I've been thinking about for a little while now, something interesting to me, and it's about making beliefs your own. So when we're all younger and kids, we get told things by our parents or older people in our lives, and since we're kids, we just accept them to be true. And we get older, we might maybe have a different perspective on life and a paradigm, and then you kind of have to sort through all the stuff you've been told. Some things that your parents told you were false, some of it were true, like just basic facts, right or wrong answers. But then there's other things that are just beliefs that you inherited in a way from them, and those beliefs drastically affect your life and also like how you see everything else that goes on around you. So just kind of sorting out what beliefs are yours and what beliefs you've just been told from your parents. So that's the most important part of this video. Okay, so the one thing that really, started this whole thought in my head is this quote by Alex Hormozi. I was like listening to his podcast or something like that. It says, "If you do not know why you believe what you believe, it's not your belief, it's someone else's." And I was just like, because that's the truth. If you really can't explain why you believe, then it's not your belief. You're just holding on to someone else's. So that made me question, what are some things in my life or beliefs that I have that really aren't mine? And either how do I make them my own beliefs, accept them, understand them, or realize that that's not a part of my core beliefs. Like I don't want that in my life. So that really got the cogs churning. So when thinking about, this whole wide topic about, beliefs and all that and kind of what causes them and whose they are and all that stuff, I was thinking that it's not a clearly, necessarily do you believe this or do you not believe this. It's kind of more of a spectrum of how much you believe. And I was thinking, well, how do you get a stronger belief in something? And then I was like, it's based upon the evidence that you have for that belief. So you have really strong evidence, then you believe it really strongly. Now, I think that's one of the main factors. I think another factor is faith, but that is not going to be covered in this video. So mostly, we're just going to be talking about beliefs and kind of the evidence. So back to the evidence, the information, to have an absolute belief in something, I would assume you'd have to have a lot of knowledge or really good absolute evidence for something for you to be able to believe it 100%. So most of us, we don't have that absolute knowledge or something, or that evidence is not 100% clear to us. So these beliefs that we have are based on these preconceived notions, or like I mentioned earlier, something our parents have told us, and we get older, and then maybe we find little holes in the evidence, and then your belief might start to waver, or you realize this isn't true, and then your belief changes, or you realize that I really don't have enough evidence or information about this to believe this thing. And I'm saying belief a lot in this video, but I don't know how else I would frame it. Not necessarily in this video. I'm not necessarily talking about religious beliefs or stuff like that, which it could be true for those things, but I'm thinking more about every day-to-day beliefs that you have, preconceived notions about something that really just affect how you live your life. So another thing that I was thinking about in this whole sphere of knowledge and beliefs and what you hold true, is the difference between head knowledge and heart knowledge. And what I kind of mean by that is head knowledge is pretty much just, basic facts that you understand in your head on the mental level. 1 + 1 = 2. It's basic head knowledge. And then heart knowledge is stuff that you believe to be true. And it affects your day-to-day. And it's what you truly believe. And like I said earlier, this is not like... this beliefs and stuff isn't about religion or anything like that. But one thing that is interesting is in the Bible, it talks about written upon the tablet of your heart or something like that. So I like that kind of analogy. I just believe that is etched in a stone to the very center of who you are, and you hold tight and is carried with you forever, because it's like stone, that's not going away anytime soon. So something heart knowledge that you carry with you and is strong, while head knowledge is just something that you understand on a pretty basic level. So the question that this brought along, or this whole thought process along with this, is what beliefs are mine and whose are not, but also not necessarily what beliefs whose they are, but how can I make someone's belief my own. Not necessarily just your parents or something like that, but for me, I've been reading a lot, self-improvement books, other things, and I was wondering how I can turn, someone else's belief they talk about in the book, or something that they understand, how I can turn that from head knowledge into heart knowledge and truly believe it and make it my own. Because I don't want to just, read these things in these books and be like, oh yeah, that's good, a bit of, advice, and that's really interesting, and not affect my actions in any way. I want it to truly, become part of who I am. And this is a pretty deep video, deeper than the other ones I've done, but I think it's something that's really interesting and important, because I want to be wasting my time learning all this information. I'm just going to, put it in some storage vault in here and, never use it really. And that's why I just really want to understand how I can make a belief my own and truly understand it. So as I was thinking about this process that kind of came into my mind of making, these facts that come into our heads to become a belief that we hold in our heart knowledge, to be actually applicable in through our lives, is by making these beliefs into standards. Now, these beliefs become a part of our heart knowledge when we turn them into a type of standards. So someone told me, or I heard, that the standards are the filter for our lives. So if you think of that way, as some way that you can turn a belief into something applicable that you can, carry out and that can protect you. So standards, I think, are one way to turn the basic knowledge that you have into something that you can use throughout your life. Okay, so here's an example, or a walkthrough of everything that I've gone over so far in regards to these facts that you learn, making them into beliefs and standards. So step one, say you learn that eating processed foods is bad. That's the head knowledge part, and rather than just having basic knowledge of it, you try to stay away from it like the rest of humanity. So rather than doing that, you create a standard that you will buy only whole foods. Now, step 3. So step 1 is you learn about it. Step 2 is you create a standard, and then step 3 is the extent that I think that you can follow or hold up to your standard. How long you can stick with it, how long you can not resist, how long, the extent of which you can follow your standard is based on how much you believe, as well as the discipline that you have. Now, you're gonna believe more if you have better evidence that, or the facts, are more reliable. That's, I think, the extent of which you believe more. So for example with this is, say this is you and you're trying to eat healthier, and see you have a family member who's suffering from sort of disease or sickness from lack of healthy eating. Then you can physically see that, and you have strong evidence. All right, I gotta get my crap together, and because I don't want to turn out like that either. So that's pretty strong evidence because you can physically see it. And there's also other evidence that you can have that are intellectual, and you can look up all the positives, if you're eating healthy and stuff. But because you can actually see that in someone else and you have an emotional connection to them, it becomes a lot stronger. I was learning this in the book I'm reading right now, Think and Grow Rich. Part of the main points of it is connecting a thought you have with an emotion, which makes it a lot stronger. And just thinking things, it's talking about autosuggestion. If you just repeat the words, it's going to do nothing. But if you connect it, with emotions and other thoughts, that's what makes it a lot stronger. So that's one way of, kind of making the evidence stronger, as you've connected it with an emotion. And that's just an example of, turning a fact that you have into a belief standard, and also how long you can stick with it. So as we wrap up, I was thinking, I've been talking about, how you get a belief to become your own, how you can accept a belief. But what if you find a belief that you have that you don't want anymore? And I was thinking that, belief is like an idea. And, I don't know, this famous quote or something, that you can't kill an idea, you can only replace it with a new one. You can't kill a belief, you can only replace it with a new one. So if you find a belief that you have, you can't just be like, oh, I'm not going to believe that anymore, because you're going to revert back to what you once knew. You have to find something new to fill that, whatever that may be. Alright, so that pretty much wraps it up for this video. Hope that you took away something useful from it. For me, this was really helpful to just kind of get my thoughts out and written down, what I've been thinking about. And just the process of, you get some information. Make sure it's, good info, because it'll be compelling and, stick with you. It'll be extent of how much you can follow is, how, strong your information is or your evidence. And then take the info and then make a standard behind it. And then follow that standard and implement it in your daily life. So I hope I made my point kind of clear. I know my thoughts can be a little jumbled. I just think this was something really interesting. I also want to let people know that I'm not saying I got this all figured out. It's just some brainstorming that I've done. And with that, thanks for watching. Hope you learned something, and I'll catch you in the next video. See ya.